Alrighty, so I have spent over $5,000 in marketing books, um, probably over 5,000 in marketing courses, and I've spent a ton of time digesting this type of material. And I'm going to basically argue for marketing in 2025, even in an AI era. And this is how I actually make my income right now. So let's get into it. I actually got asked this question the other day. Hey, can you still be a marketer in today's AI era? And I think yes. I think it's actually more important now. AI is gonna do a tremendous amount of things, both good and bad. Um, it's gonna take basically everyone's jobs. Um, but right now, there still needs to be a human in the loop. And I think right now, specifically, there's just potentially maybe not enough context these LLMs are pulling from. And the nuance, I think, is not potentially there just yet. Just yet. In the next 36 months, 12 months, it'll probably be there. But in the time being, let's get into it. So this is the argument for marketing and why you should why you should learn it. Okay, if you think it's stupid or you're not the creative type, I'm going to challenge that notion. So first point. Okay, so this is kind of the big one for me at least. Um, I love marketing. It was one of it's one of the games you can play. Like they say, if you had a cashier or a money printing machine, you could put $1 in and get $3 out. Times have changed. I don't know if you can still get that ratio, but if I can put in $1 and make at least $1, then there's really no budget constraints. I can put in as much because I know I'm going to be making more in return. Um, and so that's a game you want to play where the upside is massive compared to the input you will put it in for that output. And that's marketing. And it stole my heart at such a young age because it was like it's just one of those things that just gives you goosebumps and you're like, how do I do that? Like I used to watch Tony Robbins or Russell Brunson, um, whoever, just do like even Jason Fladlin now, just do like these webinars or big presentations, and just the way they go about speaking just gives me goosebumps. And I said, my goodness, right? And you see everyone rush to the back of the room, just like take my money, take my money. Um, it was unreal. So to be able to make one, and we'll talk about this here, to be able to make money from a bunch of people, specifically online, I think is such a cool superpower. Um, that I can be anywhere in the world, and that's the beautiful thing about learning marketing and potentially sales, um, is that it gives you freedom in many ways, and we'll talk about that in a sec here. But to start off, you learn about human psychology. So again, a lot of people are like, "Well, I don't like marketing. It's kind of like it has this weird connotation. It's like for not the smartest people." But marketing, you learn human psychology. You learn human psychology directly just by practicing it. You might not be knowing it at first, then you start to pick up again on patterns. And so, for instance, Maslow's hierarchy here, right? So we have food, water, air, rest, security, stability, which is a big one a lot of marketers tend to basically poke at. Love and belonging as well, esteem, and then self-actualization. And you start realizing how these kind of fall within society and how you can kind of go about pulling them, um, creating these massive effects. And a lot of things are like marketing, right? For instance, I don't know if you know about breakfast, but breakfast was a marketing stunt. Um, they had to actually increase the bacon sales. And so what did they do? Well, they said, hey, suddenly you need to be eating more during the mornings and you need to eat this bacon thing, okay? And now everyone eats bacon in the morning, right? With their eggs and all this other stuff. That was a marketing stunt. No one was eating bacon and they needed to increase it. So they said, this is a great idea. It's actually the father of propaganda. I forget his name. The father of propaganda. Look him up. Bernays. I have his book here. Bernays. And if you realize, propaganda is just a bunch of marketing, and it works in like all aspects of life. You see it commonly, obviously, in war, um, but it works, and it works tremendously well. And so you learn human psychology from like to the deepest level, and then you can really start. The reason I think it's very cool because then you can really start um, kind of developing blueprints for people and how you're going to navigate kind of around the world because you understand how people operate. Okay, that's kind of the cool thing. Next, again, you understand the desires, wants, and needs. And through learning human psychology, this brings me to my next point. You start understanding yourself a little better. So I think a lot of us don't take the time to understand ourselves fully. We kind of have these things, these problems, potentially, and we don't really dive into them, nor do we take the time to look internally. And so you start understanding yourself a little better and why you're doing certain things when you understand human psychology, which you're learning directly through marketing. Um, and more importantly, when you're trying to sell someone, you start understanding, okay, if we're all human, so if they're buying it through this way, well, I'm not really any better. I'm still gonna fall, to for these practices. Um, that just leads me to say you start understanding yourself on a deeper level because you're learning all these things about other people, and then you start looking inwards. You're like, that makes sense why I do certain things. Leading me to my next point. Again, I talked about this prior, freedom. So right now I work remotely. I do a lot of things, but a large portion of my income comes from remote work. I work for an agency, um, and I have clients as well. I help with advertising and marketing, so I run Facebook ads, develop creatives and stuff, um, and it's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. I get to wake up. I get to, I get to wake up in my bed here, and then come to my computer and start working. And I can be everywhere. I'm actually taking a trip to Colombia here shortly. Not that I'm not actually working on that trip, but you get to do stuff. So it allows you freedom, allows you time freedom. You can do client work, and if you do it very well, if you write certain copy or you write a TSL, VSL, develop a funnel, and that's all again marketing. Sure, there's some skills within that, but it develops time freedom. Or if you hit it really good and you do a great job, well, you get enough money where you don't have to be doing much work, right? And you can maybe take some time off. Number one, it gives you location freedom because I can work from home. I can work from anywhere as long as I have this laptop in front of me, which is awesome, which is amazing. Time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. A lot of people are lucrative in this industry. Sure, AI is eating up a big portion of it. That's why I like to think of it as now a holistic marketer, right? It can't just be a copy writer anymore because AI basically is taking that away. So you have to kind of jump the rungs and you have to kind of go upstream. So now it's basically a holistic marketer. You want to be proficient at ads. You want to be proficient at different angles, funnels, emails, follow-up sequences, even sales. So if you look to the prior videos, I'm currently taking sales. I'm in a training right now. TSL, the Sales League. Um, they're very good at what they do. They've actually have a ton of accolades. They're teaching me sales. And so, again, the freedom is I think underrated. Depending who you are, and again, you learn this in psychology. You learn this just from spending time with people. What kind of resonates with you? So I do love money. Don't get me wrong. I want to make a lot of it. I want to make more of it. Um, but also, I do like location freedom specifically. I think even I would probably take a reduction in pay to be to have location freedom, right? Like I don't want to be an individual. I always hated the idea of going to a brick and mortar spot, and yes, I've had those jobs before, but I don't want to be stuck. I hate feeling caged in, and so I love being able to hop if I could. Well, I can actually, but if I wanted to, I could go to the States. I could go here. I could go there. All I need is my laptop, and so it's a really cool thing to have. Um, if you're working from remotely, some people have, some people do work remote, yet they don't have location freedom. They kind of have to stay where they are because there's just so much to do. And so if you do it right, it provides you freedom in those aspects. Okay. And then ultimately, it's in demand. Okay, so yes, AI again is taking over marketing X, Y, and Z. A lot of people are going to be using it, but if you're good at it, it's still in demand, and I think it would be in demand for a very long time. You know, if we're selling to humans, marketing is going to be in demand. If we're selling to AI that's developed by humans and has biases because it's developed by the human, it's going to be in demand. Um, so, and then I'm going to be competing against some AI robot that's extremely good at, and then maybe he'll beat me then. But it's in demand. It's a high in demand skill. Okay, because everyone needs leads. Everyone needs more money. And so when you are good at marketing, you can get the leads, because every business I talk to right now is either looking for more sales or looking for more leads. Like, if you could have more leads, yes, you'd want more leads. That is a byproduct of a few things, but it all kind of encompasses marketing, right? Maybe your offer sucks. Maybe your messaging sucks. Messaging sucks. Usually it is kind of a messaging issue. It's just, you're not meeting them where they're at, kind of thing. But nonetheless, it's a byproduct of marketing. So if you improve your marketing, like, that's the front end. If you improve your front end, I basically consider it like going, like throwing a party, right? And you're going to post posters everywhere around your town or city. That's kind of the marketing aspect of things. And then eventually when they're actually at your house or at your party, that's kind of the fulfillment. That's what they stay for, right? So the marketing brings them in. And if no one's coming to your party, aka no one's wanting your business, then the marketing, the messaging, the angles, the offer, the funnel needs improvement. Okay, and so that is, again, a byproduct of marketing. So if you can get your marketing down, you can make more money. AKA people will pay you more, right? And so that's the argument for marketing. It's a really cool practice. I like it, not in just the sense where you can make more money. There's cool little perks associated with it, but from a very young individual, from when I was very young as a teen, I started reading these things. I started reading these sales letters. And, like, you just get goosebumps because, like, these motherfuckers are making a ton of money, right? And they're just writing this from their home. A direct response, right? It started direct mail. Like, right now, all you got to do on Amazon is just click a few buttons. But back then, they had to write a letter. And then you had to physically walk to your mailbox. You had to pay for... the thing, and then you had to put it in the mail. You had to wait 7 to 14 days just to receive it. Like, man, just to think that worked is insane, right? You can't even get someone to wait 5 seconds before the web page loads, right? So it's absolutely insane. And so if you can do marketing, if you can do sales, like they all say, right? I think Tai Lopez, he was basically saying, like, if I were young again, I would buy Bitcoin, and he would learn paid ads, and he'd become good at sales. Because then, it all kind of, like, if you have a marketer, you have a growth operator, or you have a back-end individual working on fulfillment and operations. So if you have a marketer, you have an ops guy, and you have a sales guy, you can crush it. You can crush it with a small team. And then you can start adding in AI, right? AI is like an enhancement. My goodness. Soon, it's all going to take our jobs. But it can be such an enhancement. It's really cool. And you can, if you're younger, I would start diving into it, because you can make your first few thousand from online, literally sitting in your bed, in your pajamas, writing or doing marketing for businesses. And maybe we can talk about that in a later video, how about going to get your first few clients. For me, it was a lot of referrals at the time that helped, and you have to just scream. You have to scream at the top of your lungs about your services. And that's where I fell short. And after doing some rewiring in my brain and the way I was looking at things, it starts working. So, um, again, that's just the argument for marketing. I think it's still a valuable skill in 2025. Sure, it's commoditized a little bit depending what niche industry you're going in. Um, but if you learn from the best, learn from good people that know what they're doing, um, it's one of those things again with a low barrier to entry. Unfortunately, with marketing and again with sales, like a lot of people think, have like this negative connotation to it because anyone can get into it, which is also the positive thing. It's positive, but it's also negative because like everyone and their grandma right now is a marketer, and it's like I wish we could get degrees in this field because it's like I know like I know a lot more marketing than the I don't know the mom or whatever. It's like a lot of people just pick it up and coin themselves the marketer again. That's the good thing because it's low barrier to entry. But everyone starts coming into this field, and so it's a game where there's such upside, but like everyone's in it. So if you're just better than the average individual, which is not hard because many people don't study, many people don't take courses, many people don't read books, many people aren't curious. They're just like whatever, 9 to 5, mail it in after. Um, so if you can just kind of take a few courses, read some books again, like I'm rereading Breakthrough Advertising again. Everyone's kind of heard of it, but have you read it? Have you reread it, right? And so there's a few books we can maybe talk about. I've done another video about some of the novels or the courses I would take. But right now I'm kind of just binge watching Alan Soltanic. I'm in his group and I pay for that. Not too many people are willing to invest in themselves. You should be taking a portion of your income and investing it kind of monthly into self-development and learning. And so stuff like that, it's quite simple. If you just basically put in some time, you want to learn it, and you like it, right? If you enjoy it, obviously it comes a little easier, and I do like this. And I like sales as well. So that's kind of just, again, the argument for marketing, and why it could be more valuable than people are suggesting. So yeah, we'll keep it there, I think. That's day 5 of this little thing we're doing. Tomorrow's video, I'm not too sure what we'll talk about, but we'll keep it rolling. 17 minutes in, cool. I think we'll stop it there. If you have any questions, put them down below. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow.